And fuck. Hmm. Settings output. I'm having technical issues. I might have to stop the stream and I'll be right back. What is going on? Go fast Lego hair. What's up, Kev? You guys can hear me all right, I'm guessing. Let's say roll call. Blake, nice job being first, buddy. Expect you guys being down under to be ahead of us in time. Princelow, good to see you. Ryan West, not to be confused with Ryan East. William Thorpe, good to see you. Roger. Terrence is not stupid. Stop being so hard on yourself, Terrence. What's up, Harrigan? Matty Q, good to see you, man. Phil McClory. Phil McClory. I have a couple questions. I don't know if I like either one of them, actually. If anybody has a good suggestion for the day, I'm all ears. 10:30 at night. So you and Nubis must be on like complete opposite sides of the globe. Right? His isn't that long, that late. I usually tell people like the direction when asked my name. Indeed, of course. John Gass, a long mustache. So I had a couple questions. One was like, how did you get in the hobby? Or who introduced you to the hobby? Or if you could have a fictional character in your game, which one would it be? Or which one have you had? I don't know. I don't know if I like either one of those. What's up, Orcus Dorcas? Scoot. What is the most important thing to have at a gaming session that isn't gaming supplies? I like it, Joe Swick. Thank you, Matty Q. I appreciate it. It's this is woke up here with, I put so much product in it that when I wake up, it's still kind of in the same shape, and then I just run a brush through it. Boom. So little beauty tip for you. I like Joe's question. What is the most important thing to have at a gaming session that isn't gaming supplies? What's up, BK Dan? What are you doing, Blake? Oh, he's putting up. Okay. Blake's updating me on his statistics, his tracking of Kickstarters. Roll 20, $5,000. So it must be, Blake, you must be doing like goal and then achieved. Is that what it was? Is that what the deal is? So Fantasy Grounds had a goal of 29. They kicked 509. Interesting. I see. Now I have to remember Joe's question. What is the most important thing to have at a gaming session that isn't gaming supplies? So not books, dice, pencils, or paper. Exclude all that stuff. Kevin Keneally says, water. Nectar of the gods. Snacks. Think snacks are, Ryan West says snacks. I'd say cookies. Kind of cookies, Ryan West. You won't get off that easy, buddy. Blake says enthusiasm. Blake, you win the internet. Good job, buddy. Harrison. Other gamers. Well, yeah, that's not a gaming supply that you would need at a gaming session. Harrison, you and Blake are probably, that'd be a good duel there. Prenzlau Arnold's mother, Edna. Nobody understands that one. And I wouldn't say that is one. Orcus Dorcas people. Harrison, a never-ending struggle. Well, fair. That's true. But Harrison, if you would have checked out last week, there's a website that'll help you schedule. That's coming. Yeah. Can't remember the website name, but I'm subscribed to them. BK Dan says Mountain Dew is most important. Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew. What an interesting name for a soda, right? Terrence is not stupid. More dice than you could possibly have a use for. Well, that would be considered a gaming supply, though, Terrence. Matty Q, no pad and pencils. All right. Okay. Skirting it a little bit, maybe. Ryan West says there's a cookie store en route to my Thursday evening game session. I pick up anything from oatmeal raisin to sugar to monster cookies. You lost me at oatmeal raisin. Raisins and cookies, no bueno. Hoos! Morning, Hoos. Glad you could join us. Caught up on your sleep, I see. Prenzlau says someplace to actually play. Yeah, the struggle is real. That's a good one. BK Dan, pizza's a no-no. Grease is bad. Yes, grease is indeed bad. Matty Q, oatmeal raisin is the bomb. Yeah, it creates bombs. Oatmeal raisin is the bomb? Oh, I thought it was a bomb that I would drop in the toilet. Oh, yeah, fighting words. That's right. Roger French says, I'll state it again. Engagement. Orcus Dorcas, things you don't need at the table. Oatmeal raisin cookies. Pretzel says Sean used to play in a horse shack. Something like that. Not to be confused with one of the sweat hogs. Terrence is not stupid. DMing supplies, spray bottle, and air horn. Air horn. Burr, 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 burr. Matty Q, shots fired. Indeed, sir. Saltheart. Did I get the right stream? You did. Welcome. If you could hear my voice and see my face, you got the right stream. Salt Heart of Salt Heartia. Harrigan, a collection of bad accents. I feel targeted. Some good ones. Some good ones indeed. Thanks for joining me, all you guys. Peppy bunch this morning already. Again, question du jour. What is the most important thing to have at a gaming session that isn't gaming supplies? R-E-E-G, for example, not books, dice, pencils, or paper, even though somebody said pencils and paper. And all the dice you could have. Exactly what Joe said. Not books, dice, pencils, or paper. The question du jour brought to you by Joe Swick today. Egg timer for forcing tension on players. Good one, BK Dan. Do you have one egg timer? I guess there is really only one egg timer. Would be surprised if you had multi-egg timers. I was thinking about the hourglasses. When does this show spiral out of control? Brenslaw does not show up very often, does he? Matty Q, whiteboard. Good one. Though maybe a gaming supply? I don't know. I guess that doesn't fit into the Joe. Joe's it's kind of, hey, what would you bring to a game session? But it's not gaming related. And that includes pencils. Joe, gotta skirt some boundaries here. BK Dan, there cannot be only one. There can be only one egg timer. What's the name of the cop in Highlander? What does he say? Why, Harris, are you looking for a piece of ass? It spirals on Sean Click's stream. Orcus, you know it. Matty Q says, beers. Harrigan, gaming supplies so broad. I know. That's true. So true. So maybe gaming supplies would be like this. If you were to play a game, the gaming supplies would be character sheet, dice, something to write with. And the rest would be like additional, maybe. Trying to create some kind of trying to draw the box here a little bit. Define the box, if you will. Hats / wigs. Blake is the carrot top of Game Masters. Blake, if that reference is lost on you, I apologize. But if you Google carrot top comedian, you'll know what I'm talking about. Salt Heart of Salt Heartia, Post-it notes. Yeah. Trademark 3M. Matty Q, Garfield. The cop was Garfield. Oh, Garfield. Why Garfield? Are you looking for a piece of ass? Good job, Matty Q. Man. I got introduction to that movie same day as D&D. Highlander? Seriously? Joe, it's a good attempt, buddy. It's good. I like it. We're using it, Joe. It spurs discussion. Michael Holland, good morning. Good morning, sir. Terrence is not stupid. Art supplies for drawing your character. Get some acrylics. Are you a watercolor guy, Terrence? Ink? Pencil? Blake Ryan, nah, I get it. But seen some Twitch RPGers use hats and wigs a lot. I should do that on stream. Glass tokens, index cards, coins, dice trays. Harrigan, do you have one of those? Plastic tackle box things where you've got you could set up your own little? You take out the dividers. And then you could put in all your pens in one little cubby and then all your tokens in another cubby. Inquiring minds want to know. BK Dan, the Knox's name is Schrodinger. Nice. Carrot top. Who's Carl? Straw? A straw with a large diameter to use for spit wads when players are on their phones. Whose that is? That is entirely too much work. So you got to have a straw. Then you got to put a piece of paper in your mouth, stick it in the straw appropriately, and then spit it, blow it at the other player. It's just easier to have them in arm's reach, or heavy metal dice usually work. Like, as you just pick it up and throw it at them. It's very quick. It's considered a weapon speed. You want quick weapon speed when you're sitting at the table trying to gain the attention of other players that are distracted by their phones. Just saying. Tad, the stuff you need to play mood music. Ah, indeed. I find that whole getting dressed up thing to stream so effing cringy. Aw, I was going to dress up for some of my streams. Mwah, mwah. Terrence, DMing is just prop comedy with no props. Orcus Dorcas Normal Show? I have like 50 of those, about 8 just for dice. Ah, see? I knew I'd nail it. See, you didn't run at Gamehole Con, so you didn't have all your GM your GM stuff. I imagine like one of those little I only imagine it because I have them. The like the suitcase, not the suitcase thing, like the little 2-wheel cart thing that folds. I used to have one of those, and then you put like miniatures and you bungee cord everything on top of it, so it's like 3.5, 4 feet tall. You got your tackle boxes and all your miniatures, and that's a picture Harrigan has. And since I don't play with Harrigan face to face, it's all virtual. I never see his gear, if you will. Nice umlaut. Oh, danke schön. Morning, Chris. Chris, the question du jour. I have to scroll up to get it from Mr. Joe Swick, just so I can get it correct. What is the most important thing to have at a gaming session that isn't gaming supplies? In other words, not books, dice, pencils, or paper. Although we skirted that on a few suggestions. Living Ritual, good to see you. Morning. I jumped in at throwing dice at people. Yes, that's what you do to get the attention of your players. Saltheart, deck of playing cards. Deck of playing cards. I bet you Saltheart's got like, I bet you he's got a good war chest for game mastering. Blake Ryan played late at night the other day during power outage, tethered tablet to phone and had candles around for lighting. So what he's saying, you should bring candles just in case of a power outage? We're like GM survivalists 101. Matty Q, I swear the day you put on kitty ears will be the last day I watch you. Oh, is that a challenge? Matty Q. You didn't say dog ears, ladies and gentlemen. BK Dan Sean, as long as you're dressed above the waist. You don't want me to pull a Bert Kreischer? Salt art for true RPG-oriented supplies, Oracle cards by Perplexing Ruins. Oh, there's a plug. Chris says, if he puts on kitty ears, then he should also get into a hot tub. Oh, God. Where is this going? Harrigan, I had my bag at Gamehole. It had everything I need. I have no minis, and I bring a lean kit to cons. Okay. So he is not the stacking of things onto a 2-wheel cart, and I have much respect. Lean is good. I think it's like, how much can you fit into a small thing, but still have almost everything you need? Like, and it's probably pretty, I wouldn't say it's easy, but tokens or glass beads, something to write with, a couple different like markers, water solvent markers if you write on a mat. Not you, Matt. Matty Q. I mean, play mat. Food and drinks. Yeah, we got Mountain Dew and cookies, and somebody said some, craziness like oatmeal raisin cookies, which, of course, is not. No. Harrigan is streamlined. He is indeed. Ryan West, those clear plastic 2D minis that you can set up with a crosshatch seem perfect for conventions. Dress up as Matty Q. Yeah. Are we talking conventions or at home? Yes. You take different things to conventions than you do to play your home game? Oh, I don't get that. I'm just kidding. I get it. Orcus Dorcas shenanigans, appreciation and respect for you, GM. Yeah, I know. Pipe dream. Appreciation and respect. Is that what somebody should bring to the table? Appreciation and respect for the GM? Q could never grow his beard out this awesome. That is a true statement. I cannot grow a bird. At home, we all have dinner together and often several adult beverages. Harrigan says mints, Cheetos, beer, pizza. Yes. That would be gamer fuel. Oh, convention gear? Whiskey. Oh, is it whiskey with an EY or just Y? Pizza for the win. Chris says I wouldn't bring that to a con. You wouldn't bring dinner? Well, that's disappointing. I have not answered the question myself. I would say probably I had a tackle box thingy. I think I got it. Hold on a second. I used to bring this thingy. It was kind of helpful. So in this, there's a brick of D6s, 2 bricks. So the little dice, which is probably like, I don't know how much come in those bricks. Like 30 dice? How many rows? So it's like 6, I think it's 8, right? 4 by 4-ish. Then it's 4 up. I don't know. Anyways, and then a bunch of D20s. I got all my DCC dice. That covers pretty much everything. And then writing, I have like Sharpies, and then I have the Visi-Vis water-soluble ones. I don't have the glass beads in here, though. I thought I did. Oh, I do. No, I don't. Well, I got the timers. I got more dice in this thing than I should. Like, it should be other things. Like, I could put in... I do have my glass beads. And then I've got the timers. Show and tell, kids. Mostly dice. I think I should rearrange this. Like, take out a majority of the dice. Oh, this is why I wanted to bring it up. I have in this my first original dice that I ever bought. I call Call him Old Blue. Thanks to my buddy Roger. I should probably take him out and set him somewhere and not lose him. So for 40 years, I've never lost them. And I haven't lost one of them, right? Sometimes we'll lose like one die. That's not what I want. See if I can show them to you. Look at this thing. The D20. It's not completely round yet. It's pretty close. It's the one you have to fill in with the crayon. Those look like top secret dice. No, these were in the blister pack that you bought. I don't know if that was D&D brand. I think it was TSR brand. Like made out of the plastic that just ships and like gets rounded over. Vanilla Coke, Blake Ryan, man after my own heart. I gotta stop drinking that stuff, man. Sean's not getting any healthier. Orcus Dorcas, con table, mints, a whole lot of mints. Just don't get in anybody's personal space. Although Dragon Fire Breath can it can get out of hand. And it just come forth. It knows no boundaries. There's no air. There's not enough air to dissipate it at all. When I go to someone else's place to play, I almost always bring coffee for folks, Chris says. Salt Heart game pieces from Sorry to represent random NPCs or other items. Oh, those are good. I know what you're talking about. Little game pieces. Live in Ritual. Currently only playing online, and I live in a tiny home. Oh, I want to pick your brain. So I have all my snacks and goodies at arm's reach no matter what. But for in-person games, I'm a bring snacks for all fellow. Ryan says, I also still have the dice from the D&D Red Box. We regularly utilize them. Nice. Ah, they're not top secret dice, D-Man. I thought, did Top Secret have a whole set of dice? I think they did, right? Nice. Math rocks, Sean. Yep. Thank you. Math rocks. Who? I feel like this question has 3 different parts to answer. What you have at your home, what you have at conventions, and what you take to other people's houses. Maybe. Yeah, sure. Could be. So you should have 3 answers, Chris. Ted. An hourglass in the middle of the table creates tension that a phone can't quite match in my experience. Oh, missed Harrigan saying timer use as phone. I will say this about the timer that Harrigan mentions. If it's on the phone, it looks like a bomb. if it's ticking down. William says, I got rid of my first set of dice, but that's only because they were too hard to read. I still have my second set, though. See you, Joe. Joe's going to buy a house. Hey, no impulse buying, Joe. Chris says, put a giant D6 in the middle of the table and start turning it down from 6 down to 5 and see the player start moving. Yeah, but how often do you turn it? Should have a timer for that. You put a D6 in the middle of the table, and then you have a timer for when you turn it. Turn the D6. BK Dan, Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew. Ah, yeah, I suppose. I was a Mountain Dew guy at one time. Terrence is stupid. Other people's houses. Emergency underwear. TMI. Do not invite Terrence over for gaming. Like board game 5-minute dungeon uses countdown clock. Great fun and it gets frantic. Kevin Keneally. Got a scooter. Soccer Saturday. Woo! See ya, Kev. Michael Holland laser pointer. So you could beaming into the eyes of the players when they get distracted. I applaud that move. Great if you're playing at a big table and need to point at stuff. BKD sends, Big K Dan, it looks like a bomb. It ate some oatmeal raisin cookies. BK Dan he's my Andy Richter today. Chris S. 1, food and drink. 2, nothing, honestly. I'm usually running 4+ games for 20+ different people at cons. 3, coffee if he goes to somebody else's house. Brenzel, can you really put a timer on greatness? Indeed. Michael Allen, just be careful around reflective surfaces. Ooh, laser pointer. Yes, adding that to the GM kit. Probably good at cons, right? Because con games seem like you get a table and they're big. You're having to reach across really hard and, was this guy or that guy? It's not a bad idea. Just make sure there's no cats at the con. Never played with laser pointer or whiteboard or overhead projector. Hey, Blake, it's never too late, buddy. Never say never. Blake's going to go out. I'm going to go get me a laser pointer, a whiteboard, and an overhead projector. Chris, for the D6, part of fun is watching the players trying to figure out the rules for when the D6 is decreased. Mystery and tension. Oh, it's random. It's random turning. Oof, I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I've seen very effective laser pointer use. Living Ritual. Yeah, hit me up anytime about the tiny home. Love talking about my ups and downs with it. But yeah, for sure, man. Researched it for quite some time. I want to get one. I wish if I had my own house, this is kind of weird. If I had my own house with a yard, I'd put one in the back and then I'd rent it. Or rent my house and live in the tiny house. I don't know. Terrence says weed. At least that's what my friends bring. Okay, Terrence. Friends. Got it. That's what your friends bring. All right, let's get into some stuff, shall we? Thanks for answering the question du jour. Alrighty. Oh, I gotta probably fix something here. Just a second. Uno momento. Because OBS never, can't because it usually changes. Keep the browser setting. Gotta fix that. Small oversight on my part. Now I think I should be good. Booyah. Booyah. All right. Let's start with... Wow, there are ones that I didn't delete. What is going on here? All right, we'll start here. We'll start with the Kickstarter, which will probably come up in another 2 weeks when it's like 2 weeks out. Shadowhaven, modular STL terrain for tabletop gaming. High quality, low cost, modular STL terrain. Suitable for multiple genre. Tabletop war games and TTRPGs, quick print times. So STLs, if you're not in the 3D printing realm, is my understanding is those are the files that you need to use to print, to send to the 3D printer, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. I'm not a 3D printer. $54 goal. It's up to $1,000. So if you have a 3D printer and you haven't checked into 3D terrain for gaming, here you go. This is based out of Sweden, by the way. They have created 7 Kickstarters and they've backed 88. This is like a direct shot at Dwarven Forge, right? There you go. I would say most 3D printing people probably have their own stash of these things. That's probably why it's not going gangbusters, but I could be wrong. I do not have a 3D printer. Anybody have 3D printers? Who's the 3D printers freaks in the chat? Like, to me, it's so like, why don't I have a 3D printer? And then I think to myself, what, like, I would probably print a bunch of stuff that I probably don't need. Ryan does. You use it a lot, Ryan? Living Ritual, you use it a lot? In a tiny home? I don't know if you need one. Tad, I'm a 3D printer freak. I have 2. All right, Tad, you're an overachiever. I knew there'd be one in there that'd have like 2 or 3. I should probably, I should pick your guys' brain for like a good middle of the road. Like best bang for your buck 3D printer. That would be my go. I don't in the winter, but I use it all spring, summer, and fall. Excuse-moi. All right. Another Kickstarter. Kind of going out of order. Genesis, not to be mistaken for Genesis or Renesis or Genesis. Genesis is a D20 based TTRPG system inspired by the 1800 to 1900s, set within a world where fantasy and technology advance hand in hand. Got 30 days to go. Did this must have just launched, maybe? Yeah, I think it might have just launched today, yesterday. I don't remember. The goal is today's the 20th of May. This is going to be on the 20th of June, so it's got to be like a 30-day campaign, right? Maybe I got it like right on the first day. It only has 7 backers, so maybe I got it like when it first opened up. Anyways, $2,500 goal. Genesis is a full RPG, 7 dice based TTRPG system. The world itself. So here's the Twitch system and world. Apparently, this is all one. That's what they're saying. To me, I think they need to be different. They don't need to be different. They could be one end of the same. But I think like this is a TTRPG system. This is what the system does. And it is built around a particular setting, and this is what the setting is. Just me. So there's a main rules book, a monster manual, and a prologue adventure. There's 15 playable classes, 4 subclasses, combatants, arcanists, and spellcasters. Oh, I need to know how this is different from all the other stuff. That's and they never backed one. Zetasys Studios. Zetasys Studios. We're developing a ZETTRPG project, D20 based system that takes inspiration from the 1800s and 1900s. Yeah, that's where it loses me. No offense, guys. I want to like your stuff, but I don't know what it is. Looks like a Zreet Zame. Good luck with the Kickstarter. Dorcas. Dude, you should start a podcast with all that wit you have. Just kidding. I mean, not kidding. You have one already. Dorcas RPG Shenanigans. Go out and check out the Titter Pigs podcast. Listen to Scott. And then if you're a fan of other podcasts as well, check out anything over at Misdirected Mark Network, where Chris S. is. So that's Gnome Stew podcast. What is the Roll with Advantage? Misdirected Mark Flagship Show. I'm sure there's a few others over there. Go and check them out. If you're wanting a cool and interesting RPG that has been kickstarted successfully and is going to be out on the market, check out Burn 2D6 from Kevin Saltheart of Saltheartia. Panda's Talking Games, thanks Sweefer. Yeah. Bonus experience. those 5 shows, he says. All right. Anyways, this one, check it out if you are so inclined. I should probably put these in the chat. I apologize. So here's the 3D STL printer. Here is Zenesis. You can't, here's the deal. If you're going to kickstart something and it's very similar to another popular role-playing game, you gotta tell me why it's not the same as the popular role-playing game. Like, why do I want to buy yours? Well, it's inspired by 1800, 1900, set within a world where fantasy and technology advance hand in hand. I don't know what that means. But then I'm also thick, so that could be just me. You bet. You betcha. Check them out. You can check them out live as we're going through these, BK. All right, let's see what else. Good luck to them. Here's another one. Kickstarter. Handcrafted dragon egg gemstone dice. So as gamers, we could never have enough dice, right? Here's my rule. Me personally. Doesn't everybody else, whatever. I got to read the numbers. I got to be able to read the numbers without picking it up and holding it like this close to my face. Or moving it so the sun or the light hits it just right so I can read the numbers. Otherwise, don't put numbers on them and just make shiny, cool, hedron dice, hedron rocks. You say that when Wild Sea popped up and I was pretty floored by its unique setting. And don't take it from me. Judge for yourself. Okay? I don't want to be an influencer. So don't let me influence you. Okay? Influence yourself. It's 414 area code. Somebody from Milwaukee. That can't be good. Stop calling me. Anyways, BK says, Ophelia, Sean, gotta see those. So these are really cool looking dice for sure. $2,300 goal, $7,400 raised. They've created a lot and backed a lot. So this handcrafted dragon egg gemstone dice. Definitely cool and unique. Dimensions, very nice. Fire dragon. And I think they're doing their best attempt, obviously, at having it be legible. Now, are they balanced? That's a question, right? Just kidding. Cobalt dragon. It's all about the contrast, ladies and gentlemen. Forest dragon. It would be interesting to kind of see how these are made. What is this one? Did I miss it? What did I say? Storm dragon. Seeing a pattern here. Deep dragon. Volcanic dragon. That one might be hard. Night dragon. Fairy dragon. Shipping dragon. Check it out if you want some more dice. All right. Ones you don't have to color in by hand. Another Kickstarter. Shipping Dragon. His name's FredX. No. No. Dan. No. All I see is heavy dice scratching my table and me reminding everyone again to use a dice tray. Yeah. All right. Versatile, hand-drawn fantasy map. $1 PDF. Look at that. $150 goal. $33, 18 backers. Okay. Got 7 days to go. Two RPG maps that are hand-drawn with or without names of locations, making it simple and easy to incorporate in RPG settings. This first one created by Danny B. from Glasgow, UK. Got some stretch goals. $1 for 2 maps. Want dice? Get these 25 sets for less than $1 each. And Tim's probably trying to post the link in the chat. Not gonna work, Tim. I don't think. Let's see. Another Kickstarter. So far, has anybody seen the Kickstarters I have brought to your attention? Are these all new to you? Hey, before everybody leaves, give me a like or subscribe, would you? Do me a favor? Or give me a thumbs down. I don't care. That's fine. Come on, come on, come on. Do it, do it. Just do it. Kingdoms Between Time. Embark on adventures in a strange and wonderful land where walking through an arch may send you to the end of time. 27 days to go, $41, $5,000 goal. First created, zero backed. I'm telling you, if you create something on Kickstarter and you haven't backed anything, I think people look at that and be like, you're crazy. You've never backed a Kickstarter and then you want everybody else to back yours? Like, no way, Jose. It's not going to happen. And I wonder if that's what is killing some of these Kickstarters. I could be wrong. So Black Kitten, this is the first one they've created and they haven't backed one before. Dear travelers, I welcome you to a new journey, a journey all your own. Ilit Nib, a world devoid of linear time where prehistoric creatures walk the neon-lit streets of a distant future city where nuclear-powered war mechs are as widespread as flint spears and as cheap. Tread lightly, invisible portals can appear in any archway. That is the only known way to traverse the eras. I will not tell you how to live in this strange world, but I will be there watching. Make sure your story is an interesting one. Fate. This idea for this project came from a one-shot campaign in high school, and the DM opened with this line. Granted, we never made it to the time travel part. My inspiration to create a game from that one line is honestly not the best idea, but I think there could be some interesting mechanics for the basic. Another point I'd to use a skill system that's a mix between Skyrim and Cyberpunk rather than like D&D. Instead of classes, you would build up different skill trees. This is the first game I designed, so I'm not expecting it to be the most love thing in the world, but I hope some of you like it. They're from Cumming, Georgia. Okay. there was some grammar things on here, and I just wanted to make sure if they were from outside the U.S., their language may not, first language may not be English, but this is coming from Georgia, so I need some proof on editing. Here's the thing. Here's another thing. If you read this, how's the book gonna read? Come on, guys. Black Kitten, you gotta, yeah, just some pointers, risks and challenges. It's kind of, and it's brief too. I don't know. It's tenacious. I give him credit. I don't have anything on Kickstarter. I've never done it, so I know it takes a lot of guts to do it. But ooh, I need some little guidance here, I think. See you, Terrence. Thanks for stopping by. No video, which is a minus. No header art to grab eyes. That's a minus. I don't know. They're newbies. Yeah. Seems more like a concept rather than a fully fleshed out product. Yeah, maybe. Chandra maps would maybe do better on platform like Etsy. Living Ritual. Yeah, maybe. Zooey Fur. BK Dan, be nice. There's people in Georgia I know that are just fine individuals. Probably speak English better than I do. All right. So we wish them the best of luck, Black Kitten. Got some hurdles there, I think. Okay. Why did I go this route? I'm not sure. This is superjumpmagazine.com, tabletop RPGs via Figma. Whoops. I'm not sure why I pulled this up. Maybe somebody brought it to my attention. Let me double check. My gaming group loves board games, but we've never managed to break into D&D or any other tabletop RPG for that matter. It wasn't. Why did I bookmark this? Going where no TTRPG mad Trekkie had gone before. My group wanted a theme would capture the imagination. Few people in my group already big Trek fans. They were out. I don't know why I bookmarked this. Maybe it was just for my own purpose, because I'm looking at STA. Oh, it's Figma. Oh, I know what it is. So Figma, it's clicked. So Figma is a software app. Software as a service app. So this is a person who's using Figma to run their online game, specifically Star Trek Adventures. Now it's all coming to me. And I never knew what Figma was. Does anybody here know Figma? My understanding is you would know Figma if you are a graphic designer, UX, UI person. Maybe not even graphic designer, but UI, UX. So this person, yeah, here it is. So for my group, I wanted a theme that would capture the imagination of my players and that would give me the flexibility to tell fun stories. Since this was right in the heart of the COVID outbreak, I also needed a setting that was as optimistic as it was mysterious and dangerous. There was really only one theme that fit the bill: Star Trek Adventures. A few people in my group were already big Trek fans, and I myself am a diehard Trekkie. It's a fun, open-ended universe with plenty of avenues to explore. I was really excited about the idea of running a Star Trek adventure. Now I just needed an awesome platform to do it on. So it says, I looked at Roll20, looked at Fantasy Grounds. Unfortunately, these systems were a little tricky to adapt to Star Trek rule set. It didn't provide the flexibility I wanted. I needed to come up with a different way to run my game. Although Roll, like Let's Roll, the VTT, does have STA, but that might not have been available when he wrote this article. I don't know. As a UX designer, I use Figma on a daily basis. My team and I often jump in files and collaborate in real time, and it's a fantastic, seamless experience. I had recently seen that someone had come up with a way to play Settlers of Catan online in real time with multiple players, all in Figma. What's up, Larry? Good to see you, man. Been a while. This really inspired me to see if I could use Figma to play Star Trek Adventures with a group of people. So I set out to create a prototype. The prototype, I had to prove that that this worked, but also that it was easy enough for anyone to use. My players aren't designers and they haven't used Figma before, so I needed to build something foolproof. So I decided to base my design on the classic LCARS interface, which is TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager era, right? While I kept this core style of the LCARS interface, I used a much more readable font and more vibrant color treatments. Unless you're a diehard Trek fan, I don't think the difference is particularly noticeable, but it made a huge difference to the readability of the UI. So here's the first prototype. That's pretty freaking cool. I can't imagine how long this would take. For this person, it might have probably taken 5 minutes. I don't know. For me, probably take a week. After a few lo-fi prototypes, this is what I ended up with. Let me walk you through a few steps happening here. The main player area contained the maps I was using. That must be like the top, the majority of this screenshot, which sat inside a scrollable frame. This meant players could move around the map on their own screens without affecting the view of anyone else. Interesting. Everything was locked except the player tokens. So players could move their tokens if they wished, or I could move the token and their screen would update, and their screen would update in real time. On the left, I kept a log of what was happening in the game, again in real time. This meant players could get a drink, glance at their phone, or simply lose concentration without worrying about missing something vital. This was also scrollable on their screens, so they could go back and review their prior events independently of what was happening on the game board. So I have to think, if you have like a web layout mind, probably. Lastly, I filled the bottom bar with rules, references, and the status of each player character, as well as their shared resources. This was great for new players who are still learning the rules and acted in a similar way that a GM screen would, but for the players. That's cool. We played our first session, and this system worked pretty much flawlessly. The less experienced players were able to go into prototype mode and just watch the action unfold. Those who wanted to go hands-on could view the file normally and move their own tokens, update their own health, and so on. Since a lot of what happens during Star Trek story involves reading computers, I also created a number of Figma templates for Federation, Klingon, and Romulan computer outputs. Oof. These were built using auto layout, so I was able to quickly paste the text into my component and it would resize automatically. See, he knows the tool really well. I then present these in the viewing area and ask the players who's interacting with the terminal to read them aloud. This approach to exposition text really helped keep the immersion going, which is kind of cool, because I think in some games it would be cooler if the GM could convey that to the player. Because at the table, the GM just says it and everybody hears it. But it would be cool to convey that info to the player so the player could reiterate it. So I almost think of it as, here's the secret message, or the player goes, I do a scan, sensor reading. Give me a sensor reading. And instead of the GM going, and then the person making a roll and the GM goes, dur, 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 and then the player goes, what he said or she said. That you actually give that information to the science officer, and the science officer actually conveys it like they know it. These were built using auto layout, mentioned that. Database. One thing I've always loved in D&D is keeping a log of my party's adventures, recording places we've seen, people we've met, and what's happened with the story. I've also wanted to do this for a Star Trek Adventures game, but in a way that felt congruent for the universe. For that reason, I decided to expand the prototype into a computer-like terminal with tabs for different information. Because my players were all running their own instances of the prototype, they could browse the database without impacting the gameplay. Anything that I wanted them to have a shared view of was a nested component, so I could simply update the master component and their views would change in real time. Some of this you could achieve with some VTTs. Like I know Foundry, I mean, aesthetically probably not, but you could make journal entries or provide and share them with specific people. You could have them create their own, but it's not overly thematic. And you can also make scenes like I did. I used Foundry recently, installed this system, Star Trek Adventures, just the generic, unsupported one. It looks more like LCARS overall, but I created a scene for each location of a Constitution class. Mostly it could be Constitution class, but it could be any class of Federation starship. And with those scenes in many different games, people will like only bring up the scene if you drop the tokens on it and everybody's there and it's like, here's where the combat's going to happen or whatever. I created them and left the navigation up so that all the players would see all of them and they could move to the different scenes. Like I wouldn't have to do that. Like I think it's also good for Star Wars if you did that, like you had a scene with a galaxy map so they could astrogate for astrogation purposes. A person could pull that up and go, let's go to this planet, right? It's like looking through that stupid goofy viewfinder, like, you know, what do you say, Star Wars? It's not a person, it's a system. Or did he go the opposite? Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Make sense? All right. But I applaud the effort. Like this is pretty, I thought it was pretty cool. But you also have to like, okay, players, here's all your stuff that you can click on and peruse. And some are going to grok it and some are going to be like, I don't know what any of this is. What is this? Where was that? Anyways. As I was keeping a live feed of the story going during our gameplay sessions, I simply copy and pasted that feed into a mission log at the end of each game. This became easy, scrollable history of what had happened. For characters, places, and spacecraft that my crew encountered on their adventures, I didn't want players to have to scroll through the full mission log. Instead, I created dedicated pages for each. Wow. Look at that. Personnel files, Starship database. Activity monitor, astrometrics. Character files also acted as digital character sheets for each of the playable characters. This is especially handy for STA, where players often interacted with a wide crew, all of which can act as PCs at any given point. So some of you that have played this game know this, but when you're a player character, when you play Star Trek Adventures, if you're on an away party, but say it's not the main characters, maybe it's two of the player characters, and then the other two player characters stay on the ship. You split the party, so you kind of alienate the other two players, but the other two players play supporting roles, supporting characters. They play the red shirts, if you will, or the one weird doctor or nurse that you never see that's going to accompany, Spock and Kirk on an away party. You get to play those. So as a game master, I would either have characters like players create those, or you have to have a bank of staff or crew for your starship so that can happen. So this kind of just explaining some of what the nuances of this. So for spacecraft and locations that the crew had encountered, I also listed story relevant information so that it could be used as both a gameplay reference and a narrative refresher. So here's, I don't care what you say. This person's all in. They're all in on this game. Like, sold. Rather than create each of these entries in Figma individually, I use the brilliant Google Sheets Sync plugin. The data for each character and ship was contained in a Google Sheet, which I could then import with a single click. This made updating and maintaining the information seamlessly and easy. Oh man. I really would want to see this in action. Each entry in the database is its own component with auto layout, so I can modify the content without redesigning the elements. Anybody else impressed with this? Like, I'm exhausted thinking of how to do this, but I can't even maintain Foundry in real time. Like, jeez. Lastly, I also added an interactive map for the crew members. The map is fully scrollable and each point of interest can be clicked on to learn more, much like a video game. Okay, all right. I know I really looked at the video game. Oh, I added each adventure to the map so that players could choose where to go next in each session. Overall, I definitely could have stopped there. Yeah. Report to the bridge. I gave players a new option in their navigation, bridge control, which then asked them to pick a seat on the bridge. Drew the map of the bridge to match LCAR style of the interface and made each terminal clickable. Once a player clicked on a seat, they were brought to a new, unique interface for that role, which you could model. I think the GM screen comes with big, like, square tiles of, I know they did somewhere because we did Starship stuff, and you'd get your own like dashboard, so it's easy to port. I don't know if that's what he used as a model. Since I really wanted to capture the Star Trek feel, I created unique control panels for each of the stations that felt authentic to the universe, while some of these controls, like shield management or transporters, had an in-universe design to draw from. For many others, I had to intuit based on my own ideas of how they look and feel. That's pretty cool. And then you can see how elements updated on the master sheet are also updated in the player screens. Wow. Oofda. So it's kind of hard to see, but if you pull up this page and scroll down, he's walking through some menu items on the right. And it moves like the target or the whatever it's targeted or selected. Yeah. Some panels, such as targeting or power management, were shared across multiple stations, which I think he was displaying. To solve this, I kept master component on a secret screen that only I could access and updated in it when applicable. This way the child components each station remains synced. This also worked for the view screen. Holy macros. Since most of my players weren't going to have the skill set to jump into Figma and take control of their own components, I wanted to make sure I could update their screens in real time as they decided what to do. For that reason, all the bridge control master components sat on a large artboard that I could use to update. A lot of stuff going on. Holy buckets. The whole experience wasn't unlike playing a video game. My security officer would say, raise shields, and I'd quickly change the component from shields down to shields up, and their screen would update accordingly. This also made the usual rigmarole of tracking health, damage, and status effects really easy, as I made the update once on the master file, and that change would be applied to every screen. I also added tooltips to each panel, so with how to use the controls there, so the players could easily and quickly reference the rules without having to interrupt gameplay. If you use Figma, my guess is he or she's probably, I think it's a he, is a UI UX person. So they're going to know like how to probably design this well enough for people to intuitively use it, my guess. At least better than Sean would anyway. One small note, keen-eyed Star Trek Adventures fans will notice that we didn't use the full STA rules for our Starship combat. Because of the enhanced capability of having a UI like this, I created a set of homebrew rules that took advantage of how we were playing. Still think that STA's ship combat is a blast, though. Other stuff along the way, I also created a fair amount of additional assets for use in various ways. Just for fun, here are a few things. Puzzle. There's a puzzle. Player operating the computer had to place the targeting reticles onto the appropriate symbols. The other players could only see their symbol sequence and had to try and describe what they were seeing to the operating player. Because they can all see the screen, it was fun to watch the players react to their crewmates picking the right or wrong option. Any good Trekkie will tell you that the ship is the most important character in the show. To help my character start attaching to their new ship, I used the classic Trek-style MSD, or Master Systems display. While Modifius provided a number of gorgeous Star Trek maps on their website, I knew that eventually I'd need to be creating my own locations and layouts for players to explore. He created a Star Trek style tile set for creating his own maps. Jeepers creepers. Final thoughts. I don't know. I thought it was pretty flippin' cool. A lot of work, half of an MMO right there. Yeah. I want this guy to give a non-Star Trek version of how to implement this at a more universal level. Oof. Michael Holland, I think so. Harrigan says, I've used Lucid Charts to do something similar to add lower phi than this, but I did connect objects to Google Sheets for ease of updating data. It's time. So much time. Apparently this person's out of Japan. Oh, interesting. Prenslow, role-playing merging with video games will someday create the virtual experience where the player is the same as their role in the game as far as greater immersion, for sure. Tabletop games will seem quaint and awkwardly obsolete. Yeah, the grog nerds will go kicking and screaming, though, Dustin. They'll still want the pen, paper, and dice. I still think the best is going to be getting people into a virtual room where you can see it and the person across the table literally looks like the person across the table. And they'll still want pen, paper, and dice. They just want to feel like they're more at the table. Wow, it's cool, but you really need to love and be committed to Star Trek for this, for sure. For sure. Who knows what they've done before? I mean, maybe they played other things. My guess is Chris Bam Harrison. That's who this is. My guess is, and he just posted this May 11th, 2023, so just a few days ago. So he must have did this at the beginning of COVID, and they said, hey, I'm going to put this out there. We are already part of yesterday's generation. When we die off, it'll be history. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Some would say, who knows? Books have been around for a little while. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still out there. The bookstores are closing, but they still sell them. Maybe hundreds of years. Who knows? I thought it was pretty freaking cool. Good. Bravo. Anyways, there you go. Sci-fi avatars. Not sure. Oh, I don't know if you guys. Obviously, I've been combing Star Trek adventure sites now, or looking at has come up, so you can. I don't know if this is just to Star Trek or if there's other. I think there was other ones on here. Never mind. Australia. The writing on homepage is Japanese. Oh, yeah. It might be the site, not the person. So you can go here and click Stargate, Star Trek, the different Star Trek ones, Battlestar Galactica, and the different, Enterprise era, movie era, Star Trek Aliens, Star Trek 2300s, and then you could pick the gender, and then you could pick Klingon maybe, and then choose the uniform, and then hit submit, and then it'll ask you for blue, gold, or red. For the uniform, we'll go with red. Some of these are pretty rough. They take actors and mash them into these avatars. So like this first one on the far left is Ben Affleck, and then there's a Jason Momoa. I don't know. Quick and easy, I guess, if you wanted some quick avatars. They're pretty small though, 150 by 150. Avatars for forums, great, but maybe for character sheets and VTTs, I don't know. They might be a little small. But check it out if you need a resource in that regard. But it's only mostly for those systems or games I mentioned. Like, they don't have the original series. They got Enterprise movie. The movie era's got the weird tunics that, like in the Wrath of Khan, I think. Snail mail. Yeah, an email won't go away. I don't know, man. I think it's optimistic. That's all. I think it's optimistic. Alrighty then. What's this one? Spelljammer OSC. What? Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you love Spelljammer, no offense. Sorry, not my jam. And you like OSE, well then you're gonna love Old School Adventures in Space by Lixu. I don't know what file format this is in. I don't know if it's loading a PDF or a Google Doc. Very OSE layout-ish. I bet you if you printed this, it would print out pretty well. It looks like it's got some pretty decent breaks in there. Can't be worse than the 5e version. Hey-oh, shots fired. Hashtag too soon, question mark? No. Tim. Space was created for wooden ships. That's obvious. Prenzlau, big fan of Spelljammer. Good. Hey, it's a fan project, though. They went bonkers, and they took the time to do that all for folks that like that game to enjoy. Just saying. Let's see. Arc Dream. It's got a little bit of a bundle here you can check out. Arc Dream. Probably best known for the Delta Green, amongst other things. Cthulhu Mythos tabletop role-playing supplements, best known for Delta Green. Arc Dream has also published Extraordinary Dreamlands campaign, The Sense of the Sleight of Hand Man, many issues of The Unspeakable Oath, a digest of arcane lore supporting Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu and other mythos. So there you go. Each issue of the Oath represents arcane artifacts, mysterious manuscripts, tales of terror, messages in a bottle, unconventional firearms, and full-length scenarios. So here's some of the Unspeakable collection. Sense of Sleight of Hand Man, Old Ones Rising. That's issues 18 to 21. So these are obviously consolidated. Unspeakable Oath 22 to 24. Tools, scenarios, and reviews for Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu Mythos games. Anybody own any of these? Unspeakable 25. I have not gotten into these because I didn't know. Like, I'm interested in Delta Green, but not like Call of Cthulhu, Delta Green, like two separate games. Although I understand Delta Green has Cthulhu Mythos in it. It really takes a backseat to that game, I think. But anyways, if you're interested, check it out. Moving right along. Moving. Full of Kickstarters this week. Colossal. Dina. The third expansion of the solo RPG. I don't know if I brought this up before. Third book in the Emmy Award-winning solo RPG series. Colossal. Dina. Introduces a whole new Eastern-themed area and story. Ugh, can't even read here. $6,000 goal, $29,000 raised. I gotta swear I brought this up before. Maybe not. Gold winner. Ennie's gold winner. I don't know. What did they win a gold for? I didn't read that. So any award-winning game. So must have won the gold for game. 75-page A4 hardback. Introduces new roomlands of Kyodina, an Eastern-themed port of the Colossal, where the rooks now take on the look of Japanese castles, and the lands and cultures reflect that of Eastern lands in our world. Tells you about Colossal. It's a journaling RPG game where you explore a massive castle that has lands and oceans within its rooms. Wandering these rooms are the rooks, massive mindless walking stone towers that will attack if provoked. If you can take one down, your character can take parts of them and use them, or even take their rook stone and gain access to magic. Played with a standard deck of playing cards, a notebook or journal for writing the story of your adventures, and the rule books. Draw cards, check them against the rules for prompts, and then weave the prompts together to tell your character story, which I think is a pretty prevalent solo RPG mechanic. Is the deck of cards and the tables. I did one for Time to Kill, actual play on this channel. Probably not as riveting doing actual play of a solo game, but I wanted to see what the mechanics were all about. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. Convictor armored by Drive. So this is Pledge Manager for Convictor Drive Armored by Grief, Japanese anime TRPG. Wow, that is a really obnoxious link. I can take out some of that. Hold on a second. Some of the tracking in this. It should still work. If you love anime, this looks pretty damn cool. And this prototypal city established as a testbed for mechatronics. The citizens enjoy everything from drone delivery to AI assistance, but thanks to the deadly exoframes and hacking tools that mechatronics has made possible, crime is undergoing its own renaissance, and the law is struggling to keep up. That's where your Convictor pilots come in. I don't know if Mr. Salzvedal has seen this yet, but maybe somebody posted it on our Discord, and that's where I got this from. He opted not to get into it. I don't know. Download a sample if you want. An actual play, a couple videos. There you go. Why Beckett, timeline, the team, Quicksilver, Lion Wing. Alrighty then. Does it use real instruments? I don't think so. I don't think so, Tim. Let's see. I don't think so, Tim. All right, keep going, keep it going full steam. I like my coffee with cream. Lore and Legends. This was brought up. I don't get it. Lore and Legends, a visual celebration of the 50th edition of the world's greatest role-playing game, Dungeons & Dragons, by Michael Whitwer, Kyle Newman, John Peterson, Sam Whitwer, many of which are involved in the documentary coming out, minus Joe Manganiello. It's $50. You can pre-order it here. This is at Penguin Random House. So if you like the art, if you like art and arcana, then this is the 5e days of art and arcana. That's why it's like $50 and not $150. There you go. You're getting an Orcus Dorcas. Darn it. All right, another Kickstarter. So So this is Ben Robbins. It hasn't actually... Yes, it has launched. Okay. And so if you don't know who Ben Robbins is, he originally did Microscope and Kingdom. And a lot of folks, even Ben has kind of brought up the West Marches style. I don't know if he was the one that coined West Marches to begin with, but it has made its way around. Like his blog had mentioned how he managed a West Marches style game. If you're not familiar with that, just Google Ben Robbins West Marches. I think you can find out what that looks like. Matt Colville did a video on it, and I think he referenced Ben. I have Kingdom, and then I kickstarted the Kingdom 2nd edition. And this came to my attention because I was on his email list. So $2,000 goal. It's funded at $18,000. So this one I don't know much about. I haven't actually read and gotten into the weeds on this one. The story: nations have borders, police have badges, dragons breathe fire, you work for money. That's the world we come to expect. But in this world, the world we create together, we can question those assumptions and imagine alternatives. And instead of just making one world, we'll make a whole string, each exploring a different slice of what could be, all in a few hours. And this world is a new game for the creator of Microscope. 3 to 5 players, no game master, no prep, no experience necessary, just sit down and play. So if you're not familiar with Ben and Kingdom and Microscope, they're very writer's table games, which means that the 3 to 5 players sit down. And in Kingdom, you come up with the world or the kingdom. It doesn't necessarily need to be like a fantasy kingdom. But I wanted to use this, Dustin. I don't know if you knew this, but I wanted to use this for a mothership game that I was going to run for Jeff and the crew. And they were like, nope, they didn't want to get into it. So I wanted to use, not this Kickstarter, but Kingdom to do it. Tim, I knew you'd be in on all that, buddy. So Ben, always interesting take on some of this. In this world, a small game but big ideas. You could take any material and see how it could be different or defy expectations, reincarnate your favorite books or movies or the ones that disappointed you. Playtesters have already used it in some pretty unexpected ways, and I think we're just scratching the surface. It's a brainstorming machine. Ben's approach in books and products could really be used to create again, using Kingdom to create the world is, I mean, trying to get players to buy in and not like, here's pre-made campaign setting. Chris says it's a multiverse generator. Do you think these Kickstarter ideas are just ones that did not make it into the video game paradigm? No. Ben's been in RPGs for a while. I mean, I suppose they could. Tim's a fan, if you haven't guessed. Did I put in a link? Oh, maybe I haven't put in a link. You're right, I haven't put in a link. Yes, I will put in a link, Dan. Check that out. Another VTT, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, baby. Another VTT. Another one. Better. Meet the new VTT. Same as the old VTT. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Dun, 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 dun. Realm Architect, and easy to use. Immersive world building. VTT. Finally, a place for your TTRPG maps and campaigns. Finally, because there isn't anyone out there that does. Finally, all those other VTTs, what? I can't put maps on them. This one I can. System agnostic, drag and drop tokens, an immersive world builder, and more. They're funded $23,000 goal, almost 24, and it's funded at $99K. out of Antwerp, Belgium. It's the first one they ever created. It's the back 69. It uses a VTT base as the blueprint with all your data available in a digital platform, but layers the accessibility of single-player RPG video games on top and adds a host of easy-to-learn world-building tools GMs have been craving for. You've been craving for this, GMs. How is it different from other virtual tabletops? As life goes on, game masters often find themselves with a lack of time to keep investing in their running campaigns. Fatigue sets in, and you risk losing your innovation to keep planning ahead and gathering all the resources or inspiration needed for the next session. We've tried a lot of ETT solutions ourselves and understand the struggles all too well. Other tools require too much time set up or require the GM to almost have an engineer's degree worth of technical know-how. It's gotten too complicated, and with all the feature creep, it became impossible to find the most basic of things you're looking for. After a long day's work and coming home, last thing you want to do is learn how to use one of the many VTTs. In Realm Architect, everything you need is available in plain sight, and changing settings is as intuitive as moving a slider. Not a big fan of the look. Not the drawing look. That's me. It's just me. It requires zero coding. Every essential element is right there for you to drag and drop onto your map. Possibilities are endless. Drag and drop tokens. Create grids in seconds. Scaling. It's lit. Quick wall placement. I have to think that what they're doing, they've just maybe made it easier. But I don't know if it's... I don't know, man. I don't know. Pledge levels. 3-month sub. 20 euros. Give you a 3-month sub. Was that like $25 US? I don't even know what a euro is now. Where's my currency trader? Someday when Sean strikes it rich, he can use an AI clone of himself to do this show. Seems logical. I don't even need to wait. I could do that probably now. Like Tim says. Tim knows. Alchemy VTT 31,000, 4 days to go, 520 grand. Yeah, Alchemy's a beast. World Anvil. Not a fan. Larry says, I have a feeling Sean has strong feelings about yet another VTT, just hard to put my finger on it. I don't. VTTs. They're never going to meet the needs of every gamer. They're just not. They're not. Just not. Nope. It's not. It's going to be the tool that you learn and the tool you stick with. Usually, unless you're really like out on the edge. Man. Grognard alert, Prenzlau. Back in the day. You know, if you're saying back in the day, you know, when you preface a statement with back in the day. We used to use something called imagination, where literally a pencil and graph paper worked well. Yeah, worked swell even. Yeah, pencil and graph paper work okay, but it's really... You ever use a graph paper and pencil to hold it up to a camera? Looks like dog shit. Mom, Grandpa's complaining on YouTube stream again. Twitter, we are honored to have Star Trek Adventures Utopia Planitia Starfleet Sourcebook to be the UK Games Expo 2023 winner for Best Role-Playing Expansion. So congrats to Modifius. Obvious today's theme is Star Trek from Modifius. You're welcome. But, hey, they got recognized at UK Games Expo for that supplement. So kudos to them. Kudos to Modifius. I do not have that book. I don't know if I'll buy that book, but I've heard mixed reviews on the book. Chris says, Prenslaus is just a grumpy person. You need one of those around so the rest of us can know what not to do when we get old. Larry House. Oh, look, this injury says 7 standards to address this one issue. Right, exactly. We should have a standard that brings all these standards under one roof. Oh, look, now we have 8 standards. Prenslaus says, the real RPG experience was before technology, and that was the beauty of it. Now it is something else, but not the same. It can be. Nobody's telling you can't use pen, paper, and dice, but you got to be. Most of that, I think, is more face to face. Like, here's the deal. Why is it a point of contention? What I would ask. Right? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just more observation, more. This look. I remember when, but. If you still play pen, paper, and dice face to face, and that's your preferred method, knock yourself out. That's not going anywhere. It's not going to disappear. The books on your shelf aren't going to magically turn digital. And you have to, they're going to come and take your books. It'll always be around, just like storytelling. It's going to happen. Not a big deal. But, I don't have a local group right now. I play online. And so in order to do that, video helps. You do it over telephone, but video helps. Audio, just to be able to talk. But and you can play RPGs just with audio and video using pen, paper, and dice. But maybe you just use the pen, paper, and dice whiteboard that's on the computer. Not a big deal, and it can display it to everybody, which is the beauty of it. Which is similar to being face-to-face, but you're not in the same room. And I think that's where the tabletop simulators and the VR, AR pieces are going to come into play. I think that would be something that a lot of RPGers grok, is how do I get the 5 people that have dispersed themselves across the world, and I want to play with just those 5 people, but video conferencing is still... So, 20th century, I want to feel like we're in the same room. So if I move my head, I could see somebody sitting to my left. If I move my head to the right, somebody's sitting there. I think that's where it's going to come in. If it gets too crazy and deep into the weeds, that's a whole different generation. They may appreciate that, but then people are, it might really change the dynamics. But if they play like that, great. That's fine. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. Knock yourself out. This is what the VTT sphere is like, yeah. RPG news, yeah. Prenzel says, I'm somewhat sarcastic and slightly critical, but grumpy. Nah. It's only it's only text, which is hard to understand nuance. Ty. What's up, Ty? Good to see you, Ty. Morning. They took her books. Burks. Yeah. Larry says, the only constant is change. You can either go with the flow and adapt or plant a flag and things move on without you. Both are fine. Exactly. You already pointed out with the unique aspects of gaming in person at the same table. Yeah. If you can get the VR to be that piece where you're at this, you feel as though you're at the same table. What is really missing other than somebody putting the spread down, or, the touching. You maybe not be able to touch them, but then even somebody could say, well, with haptic feedback, you might be able to even recreate that experience. So now you're just changing space, if you will. Orcus Dorcas says, if it's any comfort, my son's RPG club at his high school with 100 members abhor VTTs and want to play exclusively in person with books, pencil, paper, and dice. Yeah, it's not going to, I don't think any of this is going to be, I think there's going to be a generational shift, but it's not going to be, to lump everybody in one bucket is unfair. It's like saying all millennials are X or Y, right? To say that every single millennial is like that is being unfair. It's like saying that every boomer is like a crotchety old person that it's out to ruin the climate and doesn't understand technology. That's unfair because it might be the majority might be like that, but it's not everybody. Chris, I played a game with pencil, paper, and dice last night, and I played a game online on Wednesday. Were both RPG experiences that were satisfying, only the location for playing was different. Yeah. Redslaw says, I'm not saying that adoption is wrong or bad, not at all. You can't go back to a period that was once real time and still experience that objectiveness. Ty says, trying to fall asleep listening to Sean's smooth voice. You're welcome, Ty. I don't know if that's a compliment or backhand insult, but I'll take it, Ty. Predslow says, the late 70s and 80s gaming experience lost on the younger gamers. Is it? How is it lost on them? If they play pen, paper, and dice, how is that lost on them? That's what I don't understand. They may not have like, I have to go to your house to see if you're home because nobody answers the phone, or I can't just call you up and have you answer your cell phone because you have a phone everywhere you go. But I don't think it's necessarily lost on all younger gamers. Somebody's living in the 80s. Sean, do your Matt Colville and wake Ty up. Hey-o. Tim Jensen, true. I don't miss those days, though, for many other reasons. Yeah, some of us those times weren't good. Put them behind. I love how VTT and in-person gaming had become the Coke versus Pepsi of our community. Yeah, interesting. Orcus Dorcas, I just proved it wasn't lost. 100 13 to 18-year-olds are doing just that. Yeah. The 80s and hot tub. It's like there isn't any wrong answer, but I think it's unfair to say that the entire younger generation is lost on how we used to game. Like, many may not come through the same pathways. Hopefully they'll never experience like, the satanic panic and stuff like that, but they're still, like Orcus Dorcas said, they 100 kids want to play face to face and they don't want to do VTT because they appreciate that experience. Then great. That's fantastic. Albert Radio talking about more VTs. Albert Radio 2.0 beta patch 11. And here's the thing. I'll say this. You can play with other people across the country and still kind of get to the pen, paper, and dice-ish experience. And I say ish because some will say it's not the same, Sean. And I'll say, okay, but if you don't use a VTT, you don't have to. You could literally just have a camera pointed at the person and you say, hey, give me a check. Give me a roll. Give me a check. Give me a roll. Tell me what you got. Right? And you hear the dice roll. Here, hold on. I got a 15. Right? It's just, you can still do that. As a matter of fact, there's plenty of people that are doing that grew up in the 80s and 70s and the ones, kids. Because people don't like VTTs. Too much overhead. Totally get it. Absolutely. Stereotyping bad. Just because I'm older white male that grew up in the 80s doesn't mean I play D&D. Oh, wait, I do. Never mind. Owlbear patch. Yeah, baby. This is the 2.0 version, Dan. So there's two versions, right? One that, you know, they redesigned their dock. It's been flattened. They flattened their dock. You can also add keyboard shortcuts for every image tab. Tags. Since the first release of 2.0, we've had the concept of favoriting an image. Owlbear Rodeo, there's big fans of Owlbear Rodeo. Like the first version, which I think is still web-based and still accessible. You don't need an account. It's just a URL. Don't delete your cookies. And as a matter of fact, Orcus, Dorcas, and Titterpigs just did an episode on VTTs I thought was pretty interesting. I have a couple comments to make, but I think I forgot them and probably have slipped my mind. But Owlbear Rodeo, web-based, literally upload an image, take a couple things off the sidebar and plop them on there. It would be as if you threw down a map on a table, plop down a nickel, a penny, a dime for characters, and let her rip, like for positioning. That's it. Like I think it has a die roller if you want to use it. Pretty simple, straightforward. 2.0 is a little more robust. And I think it actually requires a subscription or payment of some kind. But again, VTT is not your jam. Don't need one. Better mobile experience, which is kind of cool because that's a big thing that a lot of VTTs can't grok. There's the mobile version. So yeah, there you go. Did I put the link in there? I didn't, did I? We'll do it again. Do it if I need to. Yeah, thanks, Dan. Tad says, my online players all roll physical dice. Totally fine. For sure. Absolutely. Although I will argue with strange games like Genesis and Star Wars Fantasy Flight games, it just helps to have the results. Like, here, all these dice, I'm not going to read the tea leaves. It's just going to tell you the results, which are cool. You don't have to decrypt anything. But yeah, you want to roll dice at your own table? I don't care. Ty says the devil's stored about playing during the 80s was just that you basically had one GM and you hope that he was good enough for today. Yeah, for sure. Playing online, you have a lot more GMs to choose from and a lot more different styles of gameplay. Good points, Ty. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm telling you, if online play hasn't done anything good, you gotta give it credit for allowing other players to play with other people. That's bar none the best thing that's probably happened with online play. Because life is too short to play with shitty people. It just is. People it's the number one complaint I see a lot all over the place. I got this one person I can't stand playing with. They want to play this, I want to play that, and they either got to put up with it and deal with it, slog through it, or come to some weird happy medium, which sometimes doesn't always happen, or they leave, find a different group. Andy Hall, good to see you. Hey, Sean, I really just want a minimalistic VTT that facilitates a desktop experience that I can use for Savage Worlds, Benny's, cards, dice, status markers. Well, I think Roll20's got Savage Worlds. Foundry has a basic Savage Worlds. Those would be two that I know of for sure that can facilitate cards and bennies and stuff. That's the tricky thing with Savage Worlds. It's got a lot of moving parts as far as chits go, right? But they do have card decks that you can use. So you deal the only thing is like, how do you deal the cards? Then you have to deal are they face up? Do you want them face down? When do you shuffle? But I think with some of those, like Roll20, bennies can be just tokens that you use. What else was status markers? Status markers and Foundry. So when you put a token on Foundry's tabletop and you right click the token, it comes up with like the pop-ups that come around it. Similar to what Roll20 does, but you can have markers. They have built-in markers. Some are intuitive, some aren't. Some, you got to zoom in to see a little bit. Blake Ryan played 58 games since 89, but 44 of those have been since playing online for the last 6 years. Yeah. Chris says, when I run online, I just let players roll dice wherever they want to, physical or digitally. You could, Andy, you could still have players. You could say, okay, I know you said, hey, I want a minimalistic VTT, but you could still play Savage Worlds with low overhead and not even use a VTT. So you could tell everybody, here's your Benny pool, and maybe you keep track or you keep track on a VTT strictly for display purposes. So you got like name, person, whatever, like a whiteboard, Miro, sticky notes. I don't know. There's some of those. So think of it this way. Do you need the VTT to play your game? Yes, no. And why? And based on the needs, why is this not moving? Based on the needs, do you need the VTT to do that? Like, I guess that's the question. If I'm rolling a role-playing game, what do I need to do? And I don't think it's any different than if you were face-to-face. So if you're playing Savage Worlds, you're going to need benefits to throw at people. You're going to need a deck of cards for initiative. Chase cards, maybe, but the GM can just flip those in front of them and then convey what those read. If you get really fancy and you want to be a GM with 2 cameras, there's a way to do it so players could see it, but I still think a lot of that stuff can be done without a lot of overhead for a VTT. Savage Worlds is a little unique because it's a little more tactical, right? You do get squares and movement and, up, down, or off the table. I mean, it does have a little bit of a minis piece, but you don't have to play it that way necessarily. Online play, in my opinion, has literally opened up the world. BK Dan, yeah. Online is a different game, so why don't we just all admit the obvious? Mm-hmm. Yeah, BK Dan, online is different, but not necessarily bad. Tim, conventions is where engaged with the wider community before online, and we still do. Yeah. Online is different today than it was 5 years ago if you want it to be. Also, local gaming clubs. Paragon, I play online with no VTT at all sometimes, and it's pretty much the same as live in-person experience. Yeah, for sure. Chris, besides, I've played Savage Worlds with people who bring hundreds of dollars of terrain to the table. Is that different than a 3D VTT? It's just facilitating similar game situations. Yeah. BK Dan says, there's one I play is Discord for voice and sending files for maps and handouts. Yeah. Yeah, you could send, I played face-to-face, and if I had a handout, I actually put it in a Facebook group. I could put it out on the table, and then people got to grab it. I want to grab it and look at it. I text it to all of them. They all have it. But I only have one handout. So do you photocopy 5 or 6 handouts? I'll just take a picture of it and send it to everybody. There, you have it. This is part of your group. And you can always find it on your phone. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. Discord, Google Sheets works fine depending on game group. Yeah. Arrogance in the minority? I don't know. Maybe. I like the whiteboard advice. Yeah. Yeah, Andy. Don't get into VTT space. Make a list of what you want to do or how you want to play Savage Worlds. And if you're like, well, I got to be able to give somebody a Benny. Well, you can give them a Benny, but do you have to physically give it to them? or not physically, but virtually, you could say, I'm going to give you a Benny, and the player marks it on their sheet. Then you don't need chits. Cards, you could flip in front of you and say, okay, you could call it off. But maps, a lot of people are hung up on the maps thing, maps and tokens. And if you're only wanting to do maps or tokens, owlbear, and I'm saying like just representing a token. Like, I don't care if it's the right token. I take like Kevin Saltheart mentioned, Sorry, pieces from the Sorry board game. So if I want an NPC, I can just plop that little thing on the table. And you're not interested in the token looking like an orc or a miniature, then Owlbear Rodeo is the way to go. Because literally you can go like drag image onto the website, boom, it's there. And then there's like a token thing, drag it, boom, 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 done. Quick, no fuss, no muss. Friendslow says, I think a lot of online gamers are subconscious about not being able to play face-to-face in the same place. Blake says, most of the Open Hearth games is shared Excel sheet and Zoom StreamYard for audio-visual. Arrogant subconscious. You just know it is not the real experience. Maybe. I will say this. When I played online before the only virtual role play. So the first time I played online, quote unquote online, was Skype. No video, only audio. Literally like talking on a party phone line. It's a long time ago. It went okay. I'll tell you what, you pay attention. At least we did. My attention was probably held better. I don't even know what I was looking at when I was playing. Maybe a character sheet in front of me. And then it moved to Skype, maybe video, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe it was Skype and then RP or roll. Was it the tabletop? What the hell was it? Roleplay tabletop? It was a kind of a janky VTT. Very customizable. Open source. Can't remember. Damn name of it. That was like the first. And that was okay. And then it was more face-to-face, and then the pandemic hit, and then it was a whole different ball game. Roll20 was probably a big one. Anyways. Ty says, I use Discord to show pics, rolling dice, dice rolling, and a post PDF PC sheet, and I like Zoom over Discord for voice. I'm okay with just doing that. Only thing I miss is a whiteboard. Yeah. Preslow says, I'm watching Sean right now, but it is a secondary experience. It's not like hanging out with him at his house. Yeah. For sure. But I think yeah, that's fair. Trying to use ICVTT for just maps and tokens. I haven't seen that one yet, Ty. I know it's for ICRPG. Should check it out. BK Dan says, first virtual for me was using Google Dupe. Probably Duo. Yeah, Duo. There it is. Okay. Friendslaw, don't we all want to touch Sean's cool hair? Try to have that experience online. You can't. A lot of people will say no. No, I don't want to touch Sean's hair. Ty. Anyways, there is a subtle difference for sure. Oh, excuse me, but it's not this big chasm. It might have been what it once was. All right. David Floor. I followed David a long time on Twitter. So they did an article on him on Geek Native. But anyways, he's got a Kickstarter. Some old friend of his from his old gaming group, like from 1983, brought up an old adventure that he had written called the Mosidian Temple. I mean, this is dot matrix stuff. Gabe, good to see you, Gabe. So David, he says, admits to having no memory of designing the adventure. But hey, the original cover is clearly dated, so perhaps it's a D&D 1E adventure from a different dimension. And it has some issues. So it's like a cheap Kickstarter. It will take you back to the 80s. He's going to put it in like a softcover version is also added at $60. So depending on what you want, what version, I will link to the Kickstarter rather than this article. I have not kicked into it. I probably could. Yeah, Dan, calm down, man. I got it. It's getting to you, buddy. $1,000 goal, $1,300 raised. So for $1, Eternal Thanks, $4 will get you the PDF of the original adventure and supplemental content scanned and presented as is with no editing at all except for a foreword written by myself. This is the original PDF only and will be available immediately upon Kickstarter completion and fund transfer. Disclaimer, we checked every site we find says both the print shop and Apple Works released in early 1984, which does put that exact date into some doubt. It's been nearly 40 years. Who knows for sure? Let's roll with it, shall we? Written November 4th, 1983. Is remarkable for a variety of reasons. One, I have absolutely no memory of writing this. Two, even back then at the ripe old age of 12, I had a sense of publishing standards. This reads like an adventure of the era and is very similar in style and layout to the adventures I remember owning at the time. Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, Tomb of Horrors, Expedition of the Barrier Peaks, and White Plume Mountain. I should publish the Indiana Jones game. Put it up on Kickstarter. I think Jeff did that. I think I still have it in an envelope. Can't use Indiana Jones, of course, but I can't remember what he modeled it after. But it reminds me of this. I'd have to give Jeff's permission, of course, for using something that's not his trademark IP. So there you go. Check that out if you're so inclined. Man, oh man. Okay. OSC Essentials, OSC Advanced, OSC that. Well, see ya, Chris. Tome of Essential Horrors. So if you want some monsters for your OSC games, this one put out by Necromancer Games. I'm surprised they're bringing out Necromancer Games, which is part of Frog God. So I don't know what... I have to ask Edwin Nagy what's the difference. It's been more than 20 years since Necromancer Games first unleashed the Tome of Horrors. And our philosophy has not changed. Everybody needs more monsters. There you go. BK Dan's waiting for me to post the link. Link, Sean! Yes, Tim, if you had saved all those dungeons you made as a kid, you could sell them for cash. Yes. Hello. Man. Link, Sean! Oh man, oh man, oh man. We're at time, but I'm gonna try to get through as much as I can. We got a lot of stuff this week, kids. Paizo Post, EN World, draft to ORC, because I know there's a lot of Pathfinder folks in the chat wanting to publish to it. If you want to know the details behind that, second draft incorporates changes and suggestions from hundreds of participating publishers. You can download the copy of the ORC license and associated FAQ down below at the link I just put in the chat. There you go. It's coming along. I anticipate that to come final probably in the next month. It doesn't say, but that's my guess. When the Wolf Comes is a Viking set in modern day. Rob Schwab getting sidetracked. Game was on Kickstarter in August last year, but after setbacks, Schwab Entertainment stepped in to help. There's no release date. Oh, so it wasn't really originally Rob's. Okay. But the announcement says it's coming soon to drive-thru. There you go. Kickstarted back in August 2022. Ian Stewart, Rob Schwab. There you go. Check that out. Dan, you can stop typing now. La 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 la. What else? Steve Jackson Games. Uncle Steve. So affectionately call him. Release some data. Report to stakeholders for 2022. Now, it's a private company, so they're not going to give us a ton, but it's more than some people provide. They've been in business since 1980. At the end of 2022, they had about 30 full-time staff and contractors, plus a few part-timers. Most of our line consists of card games, board games, dice games, and RPGs. We sell through hobby distribution, mass market, and direct sales. Warehouse 23, our online store, has been online for 2 decades and now offers both physical products and digital downloads and hasn't been updated since 2000. I don't know. All right, kids, Uncle Steve. Executive summary. Gross income was a bit north of $4.7 million with strong cash flow. We could have booked a small profit. For tax purposes, we dumped some slow-moving inventory and showed a small loss. Just so you know, profit equals taxes. So sometimes you breaking even is not a bad thing. We made it through the year, kept jobs intact, and that was job 1. We satisfied that. Direct sales, high points as distribution sales continue to change. We've explored more direct sales opportunities. There are few things as frustrating as hearing, when does this come out, when the game in question shipped months ago. So we devoted more energy to growing our direct sales to gamers and retailers. Things. Our new Shopify store went into testing late this year. Wow. We put an awful lot of work into every game, and we want to make sure that you find out about it. We'd love it if you buy it too, but first you have to find out about it. Well, it's because your marketing is probably needing a bump in the ass. Steve Jackson's Munchkin presents Munchkin. Why isn't it just Munchkin? Munchkin. The game company. Uncle Steve. Took years to carry this one under the finish line, with most of the work happening behind the scenes before it even revealed the existence of the project. Not only did the game reach thousands of Munchkin fans on Kickstarter, we sold through the first run of distribution copies and brought in a second printing earlier this year. If you missed the Kickstarter edition, Kickstarter, great. Strong year on Kickstarter. The downside that didn't become apparent until the year was over, some people saw how much we were using Kickstarter and assumed that we had to do it for cash flow. Nope. We did it because it got a lot of games into the right hands and let us control inventory more effectively. The cash flow was just a lovely bonus. STL files for Carnage. Response to this collection is Car Wars 6th Edition add-ons. I haven't played Car Wars 6th Edition. Anybody play it? Is it any good? How's it stack up against Castlands? I must find a video online to tell me. One Roll Chronicles. We shipped Steve's One Roll Quest Rules Ultralight RPG in the spring of 22 and then took an expansion adventure Kickstarter where it did very well. GURPS on demand now. That's a Kickstarter we talked about a week or two ago. Several books to scan and prepare for print on demand release. Wow. Look at Uncle Steve get into the now. Jeez, man. Come on, dude. Digital licenses, both Digital Munchkin from Direwolf and Digital Illuminati from RadioFree.net went from secret projects to announced cool-looking games. Look at that. You could make Munchkin video games. Two failures. No dramatic failures for us this year. We didn't enhance the worldwide cause of Illuminati as much as we would have liked to. Just a slow year. Staff, state of the industry. Pundits had predicted 2022 would be a year of shaking out, and we didn't see that. But it was definitely another year of oversupplying and publishing and decline in the distribution network, with many good games having a shelf life measured in weeks. Shipping costs dropped compared to 2021. But printing in China remained more costly and difficult than it was before COVID. Conventions came roaring back. Okay, not roaring. They came putt-putting back, but at least a lot of them happened. Talk about D&D 1, Roll20, the merger. Kickstarter's not going away. Golden Age of board games. Shared goals and partners. Priorities of the 22 report card. 2022, our top priority is survival, which means continuing to promote and support Munchkin Deluxe. This year, that will include a push to release new how-to-play videos, as well as teaching the game to new players. Dude, it's killing me. This is just so hilarious. Priorities for 2023. In early 2023, I stepped down as CEO to give myself more time for my own projects. I think he's referring to Steve. I will still be working with Steve Jackson Games, primarily on art direction and Kickstarters, but our new CEO, Meredith Placco, which we announced a little while ago, will take us through the rest of the year. Read about it here. For Steve and Meredith are the ones bringing you these priorities for the upcoming year. So this may be, I can't remember who's given this thing. First priority, admit 2023 is a rebuilding year and do it right. Help Meredith get comfortable in her new role. Duties. Second priority, give Munchkin the love we promised it last year because it needs more and more and more love. That game is what keeps this company afloat, and we better not forget it. There you go. Third priority, get better with the digital tools of 2023, not just online marketing, but also modern product photography, group communication, virtual tabletops, and the STL files that let hobbyists create their own miniatures. Well, this is by Phil Reed, which he stepped aside. So there you go. Top 40 products by dollar volume. Car Wars 6E Double Ace box. Munchkin Deluxe. Steve Jackson's Munchkin Presents Batman. Girl Genius. Number 5 is Munchkin. Car Wars Playmat. Steve Jackson's Munchkin Presents Batman. Car Wars Zombie Dice. Munchkin 40K. Car Wars Miniature Set. Munchkin Babies. Munchkin 2. Car Wars Playmat, GURPS Essential. GURPS is on there thrown sporadically. Yeah, I'm not a Munchkin fan either. That's okay. Munchkin ended up being best kitchen table game after drinking. I haven't played it in years. Yeah. What's up, Wayne? Yeah. Okay, I'll be up there in a second. Alrighty. Time to wrap this sucker up, people. Didn't get through a few of these. I apologize. But it's been a good show. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm over by like 15 minutes, and I gotta take my little dog out. It's okay. And you guys got things to do anyway. Ah, man, oh man, oh man. Thanks for everybody that supports me. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being here today and subsequent days in the past and things of that nature and moving forward. Much appreciated. I really enjoy you guys and seeing you every Saturday. Thank you so much. Again, give me a like, thumbs down, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications when I go live or a new video is posted. And for these individuals that have chosen to give me a few shekels each and every month to support this ongoing endeavor, I really appreciate it. Dice, Ty Prunty Dice. Yes, Dice. We'll drink vanilla Coke and Valhalla together. Yes, Blake. Whoa, huzzah, Blake. All right. Prenzlau, good to see you, buddy. Everybody, honestly. So, cheap dice. Yeah. Thank you for, yeah, you're good. You're good, BK. So, go out and game. Play game. Hopefully you got something scheduled this week. I got a Star Wars game I got to prep for. And then Impossible Landscapes I got to deal with. And then I think that's it. So be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. Move, create, and learn. We'll talk to you later. See ya.